Why everyone is quitting the 40-hour work week. Is it not crazy that they implemented this work week like 100 years ago and we still have it? Like, this and school really makes no sense. If y'all don't know, in America at least, a lot of the policies and the way school is run and the way the work week was made was literally made like 100 years ago so people could be the most efficient, right? Nowadays, we don't really need it anymore, I feel like. I don't know. Let's say you work 8 hours a day. A lot of times for a lot of people's jobs, like, they really only work the first couple hours, and then if they get the work done, bro, they're good. Now, it does differ. If you work like a food job or something, you know, you have to work longer hours or be more busy and stuff. But like a majority of people, especially if it's like an office job or something, bro, they really finish their work fast as hell. It's sad to see. Have y'all ever seen a chart of how much like we work versus how much we have free time versus how much we sleep? We work at least 1/3 of our life. And that means, let's say you make it to 80, right? I believe most of everybody watching this could make it to 80 as long as, you know, you stay healthy and whatnot. That means you worked for like 30 years straight, just like pure working and stuff. And it's like, were we put on this planet for that? You know, coming from somebody that has the leisure of working way less on average and not usually working like a 40-hour week and stuff, I will say, literally when I was in high school, the one job I had, right? The one job, I had 35 hours in 1 week, and it was the most abysmal shit ever. It was a food job, of course, so it was honestly way worse than, you know, if you had like an office job or something. I'm just imagining some people have done that, especially those food jobs, for the past like 30 years or something, man. That's such a painful thought for me to think of. I'll never be one of those people talking about streaming or doing content is harder than 9 to 5 or this or that, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I've experienced it. I barely experienced it at that, to be honest, if I'm being realistic to y'all. And I just know this is way easier than any other job I could have, and mental toll, and the fact that I could take a break anytime I want, you know. But let's go ahead and see this video, why everyone is quitting the 40-hour work week.
Did you guys see this article that was floating around recently from the CEO of Squarespace, where she said Gen Z job seekers should be willing to work for free, work long hours, and willing to do anything?
Me willing to do anything? What, you want us to come under the desk and suck you off? See, bro, this is exactly why the older generations would be mad at the younger generation, because the younger generation's like, no, we're not gonna sit here and just be slaves to the job and just let our boss run over us and do anything. Okay, this is CMO. I thought it said CEO. I was about to say, as a CEO, saying this right now with the circumstances that just currently passed and happened, I don't think it would be a good idea.
Now, back in my day, that was called volunteering, because I was always taught that if you're ever good at something, you should never do it for free.
Ooh, okay, you got some card skills.
I never made money as a magician. That's why I do it for free here on YouTube. But here's what's interesting. Do you remember a couple years ago, there was this massive wave of resignations? More than half of the people surveyed in 2021, for example, said that they'd be looking for a new job in 2022.
Okay, well, that's probably because of COVID. So, like, I don't know exactly how much these results are skewed and stuff.
Those people actually kept their promise, because data shows that in 2021, as many as 47 million people quit their jobs, which was the highest year on record until 2020.
Quit or like got laid off or something, because I don't believe 45 million people in, let's say, America just quit their job, even if it was the pandemic. Hey guys, Tom NFG here. You know, only half of you guys are subscribed and even less of you guys have noties on. I hate to be a burden, but you know, I really appreciate it if you hit that sub button and the little bell next to it. You know, it doesn't take long. I know you can get mixed up in the algorithm and everything. But yeah, also tune into the streams. You know, we have a lot of fun over there. I'm telling you, we have a lot of parties going on over there. Yeah, that's it. Bye. Damn. Like, if they were able to actually do their job online and stuff. I don't know about that one.
Which became known as the year of the Great Resignation, when over 50 million Americans quit their job. Then in 2023, we got another wave of quitting, which became known as quiet quitting. And it wasn't just regular people quitting their jobs, but it was also the CEOs. Even though the average paycheck of a CEO was $16.7 million a year.
Are they quitting? I'm not gonna lie, CEOs don't even work half the time, bro. They're just the head of the company for real. Maybe they have 1 or 2 business meetings a week or some shit. That's about it.
CEOs from companies like YouTube, BP, Walgreens also quit.
Oh yeah, the YouTube CEO did quit. But I'm pretty sure it was because like family reasons, and then we also learned, you know, she was like battling cancer and shit, so it's probably that.
Their positions. And that brings me to 2024, which some people are starting to call the year of the Great Resignation 2.0, because 3 in 10 workers are planning to quit their job this year, and most of those quits are attributed to Gen Z and millennials. In fact, quitting has become so popular that even this guy was forced to quit. So in today's video, I want to help.
Damn, bro, so the president can quit a job, but I can't? Yeah, some jobs won't even let you for real. Like, you gotta goddamn stay at the job or something for a certain amount of time before doing it.
Answer a couple interesting questions like, what the heck is going on? Why have so many people quit their jobs in the last few years? And why are we still following a law that hasn't been changed since the 1940s about...
That's so crazy, bro. Yeah, we gotta change something soon, man. First off, this law was going on when there was segregation, dog. Bro, black and white people weren't even allowed to be in the same rooms and drink from the same water fountains, and we still got this policy? How does this make any sense?
The 40-hour work week, and should you quit your job? There's a lot of really interesting...
Yes, and that's why I am quitting, y'all. I will see you actually. Honestly, was just, you know, reacting to this video, just, you know, make it official and make it easier for y'all just so we could ease it in. So, yeah, I'm gonna see you guys. All right, quitting. All right, I just got a notice from the landlord that I am going to be evicted soon. So, I'm back.
Data that I want to share with you about this. So with that said, let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the jobs. Now, this video was inspired by another video that went absolutely viral about an MIT neurosurgeon who quit his job after working for 10 years, making hundreds of thousands of dollars working on people's spines and brains. And he's just telling his story way up in the mountains. And it really caught my attention because I thought, how could someone quit such a prestigious job after working so long and making so much money? And
well, did he make enough to like retire and stuff? He probably made enough to retire, and then he was like, you know what? That's good enough for me.
It's a super interesting story that goes back 10 years ago when he took this oath to become a neurosurgeon. And what he found out was that the surgeries would help people from time to time, but more often than not, the surgeries did not help most people. So he started to ask his patients questions about their lives, like what kind of job they had, whether they were stressed or not, whether they exercised, and what they ate, and how long they slept. And he says that throughout all of it, he found out something really interesting. What he found was that the people that would be able to recover from his surgeries all had a couple things in common.
People that got better were having a mostly plant-based diet. They were definitely not eating salty, and they would do things that would make them sweat, like exercise, being outside, hiking like this, going to a sauna, or they live in a warm place.
Live in a warm place? Wait, you could heal easier by that happening? I didn't know that.
They didn't smoke. They didn't drink much. Usually had a good social support, like loved ones, family members, children, friends. Like a way to socialize. They would sleep. They would sleep like 8 hours every day.
That might be GG's for me. Yeah, I'm lucky nowadays if I get 6 hours of sleep. I want you to tell me in the comments, does everybody here have like bad sleeping schedules? I feel like the younger generation has the worst sleeping schedules. It's worse for me too, because even when I do, you know, like want to wake up early and shit, I will literally just say, I'll sleep at 3 and I'll wake up at 9 just because I like waking up in the morning and stuff. So I feel like I'm just destroying my body. Like at this current moment, I'm literally on like 5.5 hours of sleep. I'm not even joking, y'all.
And they weren't stressed out, or if they had a stressful job or something, they
look at them, lucky them, I guess. You know, I wish I had that.
Be mindful or meditate or like just be present and release the stress back into the universe.
Then he goes on to say that the people that couldn't maintain their health after the surgery were the opposite from those people. They were people that did not get a full 8 hours of sleep. They felt stressed a lot of times. They didn't exercise much, they didn't eat healthy food, and they didn't have a lot of friends or a support group to help them get through it. So surgeries for those people would help them temporarily, but then their body would go back to having pain again. And that's when he had his epiphany, the aha moment of how to actually help people. And he said that realization became a huge problem.
But the way that everything is set up in the whole country, it's not any particular hospital. The way things are set up is that the hospital needs to make money. The problem is that if you figure out a way to help patients heal, and that way doesn't include a pill or a surgery.
No, it is facts.
Well, then the hospital and the doctor are in big trouble because...
And I can't even blame them, bro. bro. Like, it's the business of it, and honestly, like, capitalism and shit, you know? Even when you go to a doctor and stuff, bro, a lot of times, okay, look, I don't know if this is controversial, but you don't gotta get a yearly checkup. So listen, y'all gonna call me crazy. I haven't gotten a checkup from a doctor in like 3.5 years or something. I would say like every 2 years or something, as long as you have a healthy lifestyle and everything is solid, and as long as you're not like super old or something or have any type of disease. Why do you gotta visit that shit every year? Sometimes they'll say like every 6 months or something, so they can get their goddamn paycheck. That's why, right? But I swear you do not need to visit the doctor every goddamn year.
If you figure out a way to help people heal and you can't charge them for it, well, then you've just worked yourself out of a job.
So once he had this realization, he said that he gained a lot of weight, he became sad and angry, and he realized that he couldn't continue working for another 20 years because he didn't think he'd live that long. So last September, he quit his job. And I really resonated with his story because I know how hard it is to work for something for 20 years only to realize that maybe that's not the thing you were supposed to do. So his story really made me wonder, why are people having these epiphanies?
I feel like he probably liked doing it. It was just more over the after effects because he went into it, you know, it was a good career. He's helping people with these serious problems, but learning about the actual hospital system and how they work and these health insurance companies and stuff, he was just like, yeah, this is just sad. He couldn't live with the thought with it.
And quitting their jobs. So the first place that I started looking at was at the data. And what I found was that more people want to quit their job today than ever before. Big tech like Microsoft and LinkedIn, for example, showed that out of 31,000 people across 31 countries, 46% of them said that they want to quit. And that is a lot more people than even during the Great Resignation, when only 40% said they wanted to quit. So I put that data aside and I wanted to look deeper at the surveys into what actual people were telling us.
I feel like it's just more of the economy, and then people like, you're working all this time, even if you got a good paying job. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, if you had 100K and like 2019, bro, you were balling, bro. You were him. Nowadays, bro, you could be making a 6-figure salary, bro, and in some places you could barely afford your rent. And then the cost of like living and stuff in a lot of places is bad. So people are like, damn, I'm just working this job and it feels like I'm making a lot of money, but I can barely afford to live.
Why they were quitting their jobs. And according to surveys from Statista, here are the top 10 major reasons why people are quitting their job.
Okay, let's see if I was right.
Reason 10 is because employers required a vaccine.
Was this back in 2021 when you actually like had to get a vaccine in every place? I will say it did annoy me or whatever after a certain point where they're like, oh, like if you chose not to get the vaccine or something, you're pretty much cooked. You could not go anywhere. There was no place that would allow you in like any event unless you had that goddamn vaccine for real.
Reason 9 was working too few hours.
Okay.
Number 8, some people wanted to relocate to a different area. 7, some people thought they worked too many hours, or the benefits weren't good, or not enough flexibility. Reason number 4, childcare issues. Number 3, people felt disrespected at work.
See, bro, I'm telling you, that's something the older generation was just like, you know what, we're gonna put up with it. No, you shouldn't have to put up with a terrible boss. Why are you even in the manager or boss position if you hate like working the job and you're gonna get mad? I understand everybody's humans and managers are humans, but it's like the vibe you give around your whole environment stuff as a manager and boss kind of controls how the workflow goes. And if you have a terrible attitude, it's like people are gonna give you terrible work because they don't care. Really never understand a manager or boss that's like mean to all their employees basically. It's like, why did you even get the job, bro?
Number 2, some people felt they had no advancement opportunities, but the biggest reason is that they thought the pay was
Might not cooking up, I said the economy, but I knew it, bro.
just too low. These are all really good reasons for anyone to quit their job. But the problem is, they're not new. Anyone could quit their job for any of these reasons in any given year. And it doesn't really help me explain this phenomena of why so many people have quit so recently. So I decided to look back farther into the past.
Okay.
And the deeper I looked, the more this picture started to make sense. Because the real problem started before most of us were even born. We have to go back to 1940.
Shoot, I was born. I remember I was slinging crack on the corner. It was the 1940s. We started the first crack ring, and that's where I ended up.
That's when the FLSA, or the Fair Labor Standards Act, was changed from a 44-hour work week to a 40-hour work week.
It was 44 before?
In order to increase productivity. It was also then when we decided for the 2-day weekend how much someone would get paid working overtime what it meant to be full-time and part-time. Now, those laws were based on the economic conditions and the productivity levels of that time.
Yeah, because back then, I mean, you kind of wanted to work more because you needed to make money. Like, especially in the Great Depression, everybody was broke. Everybody needed to make money. But nowadays, you know, some people, they just cooling with their money and stuff. They make good money. I feel like humanity needs to relax a little bit. We need to, like, chill out, you know?
But here's the problem. Over the last 80 years, we've had a huge technological revolution. We invented automation, computing, instant communication.
Nah, I swear, in the next 5 years, when AI and robots start to take over, if we're still working 40-hour work week, I'm gonna crash out. At that point, why are we doing it?
Exchange of information, the internet, AI, and all of that meant an increase to what's called productivity growth, meaning the same worker could now do way more work in a shorter amount of time. And data shows that since 1947, productivity growth has skyrocketed. So here's what
so even when you think you're not working as hard or whatever, back then, bro, you were probably the hardest worker of all time. Even in school and stuff like that, the subjects, they up the level or whatever, depending on how smart society is getting. So like the stuff you learn in, let's say, 6th grade, they might have been learning in like 9th grade back then or stuff. Honestly, kind of makes sense to me that a lot of kids like struggle in school, even with normal subjects. Cause it's like, dude, back then they was learning that type of stuff in college, and now you got to learn it in 9th grade and 10th grade and stuff.
That means if we take two people, one with access to 2024 technology and one with access to 1947 technology, it's the person who's using modern technology who can make, on average, almost 5 times as much stuff as the other person, or get 5 times as much work done. That also means...
But to be fair, also, literally technology, computers, whatnot, we do have it easier with that. It would be impossible for them to reach our workflow, pretty much.
One of two things. If we can do more stuff, but we're not making more money, we can maybe work less. But obviously we know that's not the case. Most people are still working 40-hour work weeks or more if they're on a salary. Or there's option 2, which is we make more money. But here's the data of what actually happened. Not only are people working multiple jobs today, which was not the norm in the 1940s, but wage growth has not kept up with productivity. In fact, it split sometime in the early 1970s. The question is, why did it split? And the answer is pretty complicated because there's a lot of reasons, so I put together just a few of them. There was something called the Taft-Hartley Act of 1947, for example, which restricted the activity and power of labor unions, and that led to the decline in union membership and union power. This law stopped allowing unions from making donations to federal political campaigns, which meant less representation for the workers. Then in 1962, there was...
That's why I think no matter what political party you are, especially I hope this election showed people, neither of these political parties is really for you for real. Like, bro, immediately as soon as a politician takes a donation from a company, like, you know it's cooked.
The investment tax credit, which encouraged businesses to invest in new machinery and technology, which increased the development of automation and efficiency.
Well, that's pretty good.
We get 1974 and the Trade Act of 1974, which encouraged companies to relocate their manufacturing overseas. And manufacturing overseas meant more jobs went overseas, which also lowered wage growth here in the United States. Then in the 1970s, there was the oil shock, which led to high inflation and an economic slowdown. That
just say 10-gallon limit? Okay, but cars back then, they were probably like the whole 8 gallons at the most or something, right?
It's something called stagflation, which slowed the wage growth and decoupled it from productivity even more. Then there was even more inflation thanks to Nixon's wage and price controls. And in 1978, there was the Airline Deregulation Act, which increased competition in the industry and lowered job security and benefits for workers. Then there was a huge shift towards maximizing shareholder value, and that's when companies started to prioritize profit making over workers and their wage growth. Then in the 1980s, there were the right to work.
It seems like it just got worse and worse. I know some people say Ronald Reagan destroyed middle class and the economy. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I don't know, I haven't done research on that. But it's slowly as new presidents came in, it just started to get more corrupt. And then now it's to the point where they don't even want to work these jobs.
Laws which allowed people to not pay their union dues, and that made the unions less money, which made them less effective. After this law, some studies show that wages dropped 1%, 5 years after the law was passed. And it keeps on getting worse because in 1980, the same thing that happened to the airline industry happened to the trucking industry with the Motor Carrier Act of 1980, which led to
I wonder when we'll get like a huge act like this again.
deregulation, which increased competition and lowered job security and benefits for workers. And then we got the 1990s. And the world became more globalized.
The nations of North America are ready.
Strengthened by the explosion of growth and trade.
To recognize that there is no turning back from the world of today and tomorrow.
The North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, lowered trade barriers between the US, Canada, and Mexico, which increased competition from lower-wage countries.
Damn, eliminate tariff taxes on most imported and exported goods. You know what's about to bring that back? I didn't know they removed the tariffs on the countries and stuff. Nah, imagine that they just get added back and then like everybody's just cooked. Like nobody's goddamn making money or something.
Then in the 2000s, China joined the World Trade Organization, which increased imports from China and put a huge pressure on...
Is that when everything became made in China? Now that I think of it, I think it would literally say made in China in a lot of places, so damn.
American wages because of the lower labor costs. Then in the 2010s, we got the rise of the gig economy. We got apps like Uber and Lyft, and those apps were great in allowing people to make more money. But it also led to the gig economy, which came without the wage protections and the standard employment benefits. Combine all of that with the crazy growth we've seen in the stock market and in real estate due to liquidity as a means to...
Honestly, I can't even blame those companies either, because it's like if you're self-employed, a lot of times, like me for example, I wouldn't expect YouTube to give me like, I don't know, health insurance or something. It would be nice, I guess. Regardless, I mean, that's always how self-employment has worked. They just simply won't give you the benefits because like you're not an actual employee there. Like, even though I get paid by YouTube, I'm not an employee of YouTube, you know? I'm providing them with something. They're getting something for it, sharing it, and it's like we're kind of just like making a handshake or something, like a deal almost. Can't really like blame these companies for not giving benefits because they would literally go like bankrupt if they did.
To pay the debt from our past, and you get the world as we know it today. All in all, these are some of the reasons why workers today can get a lot more work done, but why they get paid less for it. And the expectations for workers are higher than they've ever been before, and that has led to burnout. But I also think there's one more thing. Like I said, this has been building for 80 years now, and what's led people to the edge of this burnout to quit was the pandemic. But really, the best answer that I could find that helps explain all of it is this.
People have been living to work for a very long time, and I think the pandemic brought that moment of reflection for everyone.
Okay, I don't know about y'all, but it was a game changer for me. I was in school, low-key, because I always went to school, and I was just like, bro, I really want a break that's like, I just wanted a break. And then when we got that break for like, I don't know, the first 2 months, I was like, holy shit. Like, I'm sitting down playing Discord all day and Among Us with my friends, like, schoolwork, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just using like goddamn, you know, I'm not gonna say what I was using to do the schoolwork and stuff, because, you know, I've graduated totally legally to my old high school and stuff. Never cheated. But yeah, I was like, damn, bro, I feel like it was fun. Like, I felt free, you know, I was just chilling, and then I was like, man, so all this time before that, I was just used to this goddamn system. I was used to the same system of going to school. We would get a couple breaks throughout the year, but I never like got to choose a break or like just got a break for myself. That was definitely eye-opening for me, right? And I know for like people that were working their whole life, like 30, 40 years, they're probably like shocked by it.
What do I want to do? What makes my heart sing? And people are thinking, if not now, then when?
And I think she's absolutely right.
That's a good point.
Before, the mentality was, we should live so that we could work so that we can pay our bills. And that was the illusion that we all believed in as long as the times were good. Back when cars and houses were more attainable, when food was a lot cheaper, when gas prices weren't so high, when utility bills were more reasonable, when restaurants didn't ask for a tip.
Like, I could see it going down and stuff. I don't know, depending on how this next presidency goes, I guess we would have to see.
For every single transaction. And then we got the pandemic, and the global economy was shut down and everything was brought to a standstill. So the government tried to bail us out by printing trillions of dollars and causing an excess of 20% inflation over the last few years. And that was the moment when there was this mental shift in how we thought, not just about our jobs, but about our lives. Because we went from living so that we can work to working so that we can live. Because if The jobs we work impact our mental health, which has a direct effect on the quality of our lives and how long we live for. I think that's why people are rethinking everything. And
I think it's more of the job you're working, to be honest, because I got friends that are fine with the job they work. They're like, yeah, it's cool. You know, they actually like the job. And then you got, you know, people that absolutely just hate their job. I got friends that really don't like their job. They're trying to find something different to do or whatever and pivot away from it eventually. It's not like all work or whatever is just terrible for people. Some people actually like to work, moreover. My dad actually likes to work his job, so.
Prioritizing and maximizing for happiness instead. And I think those are the reasons for why these changes are taking place in the last few years. And I think you're gonna see a lot more of these stories about more and more people wanting to quit their jobs. A recent survey, for example, noticed that out of 1,000 people polled, roughly a third said they'd be looking to quit and start a new job soon. And the highest percentage of those people came from
I think it is also easier to find a job nowadays. Back then, if you quit your job, like, you have to send in like either a paper application, go in person, request it. Nowadays, you just go on LinkedIn, send them the request or whatever, send your information, and then just hope and pray that it works.
people between the ages of 18 to 34. And that makes perfect sense to me, because when you're younger, you tend to move around a lot anyway because you're still trying to figure it out. But I also think there's this effect that the younger generation sees the outcome of the older generation. They look at the economy and everything that's going on, and they make the choices that they do. Which isn't to say that they're good or bad, that's a separate discussion. But one thing that
Bro, the younger generation just doesn't want to slave away for a boss they hate, or like, you know, barely getting paid anything and just be silenced by them.
is true is CEOs are not going to watch this video and be like, this young man has a point here. Let's pay them more and allow them to work less. So I think the only other question that I want to help explore is, should you quit your job? And the answer, of course, is that it depends. I actually took a quiz from the Washington Post about my job making videos here on social media. I'll leave a link for it down below, but I consider myself to be extremely lucky because even though these videos take a lot of work to make and I'm a one-man team, I don't have any editors. I'm the only person that scripts and shoots and edits and plans for these videos and answers the comments and everything else. I think it's extremely rewarding. And I think the thing I look forward to the most is knowing that at least one of my videos helped someone out there with something. I think validation goes a long, long way. But so does making money, which is why experts say you should have anywhere between 6 months to 1 year for emergency expenses if you do decide
people do not have that.
to quit. And studies also show that switching—
But you could always apply for a job like on Indeed, do the interview and be like, they accept you and then just quit your other job right after. So like, you could look for a job while still having your job. That's actually what most people do. So if you're gonna fully quit though randomly and start looking, then that's more of a risk.
Jobs, especially early on, is the fastest way to grow your income. In fact, it's actually recommended that you should switch your job every 2 to 3 years, which is the best strategy to grow your income. And I wish I did that with my life.
I think it's just good for experience. Like, honestly, that's why I be streaming, by the way. Go check out my Twitch, you know? But yeah, like, you just gotta diversify what you're doing and stuff. Even when you see a content creator, they're opening a brand, this brand and that brand. Trying out different stuff, you know, so you're not doing the same old boys.
Career, but you know, I never said I was any good. But I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Damn.
Are you staying with—
Nah, that was an amazing video, bro. So yeah, for y'all watching this, you know, for all my hard workers at NFG, I just want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for working the 40-hour weeks, working your bone off, whether you're working for yourself, family, friend. I was about to say friends. Hell no, you're not working for your friends. You know, you're a hard worker, and if nobody told you, I am now, so there's that. But yeah, if you're watching the tube, make sure to join the Discord and watch the streams.
Subscribe to Tommy NFG.